I don't really even hate the way that they scored that fight, to be honest with you. Jan didn't land enough bombs in order for him to get the nod. I understand the argument for control. I feel for Jan. If I would have lost the fight that way too, I would have been super upset because traditionally 9 times out of 10, I think the judges give it to Jan. They didn't this time. I feel for you. I'm sorry, bro. Sometimes these things are just coin tosses, but congrats to O'Malley for winning that fight. We have TJ Dillashaw, who apologizes to the division after the fight, pretty much admitting that he was doing it for a giant paycheck probably and didn't really come in with super high expectations of winning. I hope you got paid, man. Congrats to Sterling. We got Cheeto, who's trying to make me sound like I'm the guy that's afraid to fight him. The UFC offered me that fight on 3 weeks notice after it was about a month after I had fought Yudong. Cheeto, you called out guys in the top 5 and then fought down in the rankings and fought Cruz. Do I blame you for doing that? Of course I don't. It's a draw, but don't try to make it sound like I'm afraid of you, bro. You can get me after a full camp, and I'd be glad to whip your ass sometime around February. I think with the division, you got to give O'Malley the title shot. Hopefully pay Sterling pretty good. I hope that they do me and Cheeto for a #1 contender spot. That's how I hope that the division goes.
Hamza, you got Kamaru and Leon rematching.
Yep.
Probably in London.
Yep.
I think the co-main event for that should be Hamzat versus Colby.
I agree with you.
Cool. Let's book it.
All right.
Is
I'm on it.
that confirmed?
I'll get it done.
Thank you. Dana, appreciate you.
Taco enthusiast. Hi, Ariel. I still can't wrap my mind around the seriousness of MMA's intersection with geopolitics. Oh boy. For Khamzat to appear at UFC 280 with Ramzan Kadyrov's son, especially after the horrifying video that came out earlier this week. I know Dana White likes to talk about how anybody can say anything they want at the UFC. But there has to be a limit, right? The UFC roster has fighters with diverse sexual orientations, some of whom would be executed by Kadyrov's regime simply for being. I'm bothered that other UFC fighters from different countries have looked the other way and simply gone and propped up this warlord's sports propaganda by visiting his gym, taking photo ops, and making him look like somebody that hasn't violated hundreds of human rights. I know it's a sensitive issue, and I can't blame somebody for being from where they're from or having different views/opinions. But I'm really just concerned at the UFC's lack of sensitivity on the subject and look the other way attitude. Thoughts? Well, Taco, and I'd love to get the thoughts of the other guys as well. This is a tough one. I understand where you are coming from. I think there is no denying that Ramzan Kadyrov is a very controversial figure in the world. Some might call him a dictator. As you said, his past, very checkered, very controversial, and I'm being very kind and choosing my words wisely. And then when you see some of the best fighters in the UFC, just sort of, hanging out, rubbing elbows with family members, Dana taking a picture with his son. I saw there was a picture of DC and his son, greeting. I asked DC, by the way, I hope I'm not oversharing. I said, did you know who that was? He said he had no idea. He was just introduced to him by Khamzat. He said, hello, picture was snapped. They posted, here's DC with this guy. I believe him. How's DC going to know that? I wouldn't know that unless, someone told me. Who knows what his son looks like unless you're like really entrenched in this world. But guys, and I don't know how much you pay attention to this stuff, but Ramzan Kadyrov is I don't know what his exact title is, but he's like the head of Chechnya, right? Let me just get this right. I don't know what they exactly call him, if it's president, it's the head of the Chechen Republic. So I was right. You see these pictures, you see these FaceTime things, and you're like, how am I supposed to feel about this? And I don't know if other top athletes in the major sports here in North America I don't know if fans of these sports, fans of these athletes are faced with this dilemma. Now, there was the Daniel Kinahan situation in Ireland, but also he had the ties to the Fury family. He's kind of been, at this point, everyone's tried to separate themselves from him because of the announcement from the Department of Homeland Security over the summer. And obviously that has affected the Fury family and other fighters as well. But I will admit, I see, and I don't know how to feel. I don't know, are we supposed to just separate those feelings, separate that, and just appreciate these fighters for who they are? It's sort of like what I said last week, to a degree, where, people want to be dismissed because of their politics or because of their viewpoints and this and that, but there has to be some line. I agree that there's a line. I just don't know in this regard what that line is.